Leo, something is shifting. The universe has broken your final curse, and whether you've noticed it or not, you're already standing at the edge of a financial floodgate. You're not just meant to have more, you're meant to drown in it. Yes, you heard that right. Not tiptoe around money. Not wish for scraps. But be completely submerged in abundance that was once locked away. And guess what? Someone has been quietly watching it all unfold, waiting for the right moment to reveal what's truly yours. Let's be honest, hasn't it felt like you've been carrying a weight that isn't even yours? Like you've been holding back your power because the world taught you to be careful, to stay small, to keep it humble? I know that energy. Many of us have lived through it. And Leo, you more than anyone know what it's like to shine, while still feeling like the spotlight just won't quite land on you. This isn't a random video. You didn't stumble here just for entertainment. This is a message timed by cosmic alignment and whispered through synchronicity. You've been guided here because the timeline is shifting for you. From October 28th to 31st, a rare astrological window is opening that activates your birthright in ways you've never experienced before. During these days, the Sun in Leo forms a sacred trine with Jupiter, the planet of expansion and wealth, while the Moon moves through Scorpio, stirring up long-forgotten emotional patterns tied to self-worth, money, and legacy. The combination? A cosmic permission slip for deep release and massive receiving. If you felt a presence, Latilia, sense that you're not alone, that something or someone is watching, protecting, or perhaps even tracking your every energetic move, you're not imagining it. The King of Pentacles energy is surrounding you now. This isn't a savior. It's a mirror. This person, whether physical or spiritual, sees your value and is ready to anchor what you've worked so long for. They're not coming with noise or show. They're coming with proof. And that curse? The one that kept whispering, not yet, not you, not enough? It's not real anymore. But here's the catch, it's not the universe's job to convince you. It's yours to believe. So, before we go any further, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what would it look like to stop surviving and finally start thriving? Let me also take a moment to say thank you. Truly. Your presence here means something. Every view, every comment, every like you share with this community deepens the energetic thread between us. You're not just watching a video, you're becoming part of something. And if you feel that even a little bit in your body, stay with me until the end. What's coming next could help you understand not just why you've struggled but why it's finally your turn to receive. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt like someone or something has been guiding you lately, even in silence? What signs have been following you? What inner voice brought you here, today, to this exact message? Comment below with the number 888 if you feel ready to receive. Let that be your confirmation. Your way of saying, I'm done waiting. I'm done apologizing. I claim my abundance. And I'm ready for it to overflow. Leo, let's slow things down here, not to pause the momentum, but to finally listen to what's been echoing inside you for far too long. You've carried something heavy for years, haven't you? Not always something you could name, but more like a quiet tension under the surface. A voice you never asked for, whispering, not yet, you're not ready, you have to earn it harder than everyone else. That voice is not your truth. It's a weight that was handed to you, maybe from the people who raised you, maybe from the world around you. But it's not part of who you are at the soul level. And now, Leo, that weight is starting to lift. The final curse, yes, that invisible force that's held you back from fully stepping into your birthright of material ease and emotional freedom has finally broken. This isn't just poetry. This is pattern. Energetic pattern. And you've lived inside one that told you you could only receive after proving something. That you had to fix yourself first, sacrifice, perfect, perform. But do you ever wonder where that idea came from? Because no one is born thinking they are unworthy. We inherit that. Like old furniture passed down through generations, full of dust and memory. Maybe your parents lived paycheck to paycheck. Maybe your grandparents fled from lack, from war, from silence. And maybe no one ever said the words, but the energy still lingered. It's dangerous to ask for more. Better not stand out. Stay small. Be safe. But Leo, your spirit never signed that contract. You've just been honoring something you thought you had to carry, something you thought was part of being a good person. And that's where the lie lies. We're taught that struggle makes us noble. That wanting more is greedy. That dreaming bigger than our environment is disloyal. But here's what I know after guiding thousands of souls through this very portal, that belief isn't sacred. It's systemic. And the truth is, holding back your light doesn't protect others. It only keeps the curse alive. That's what we're breaking now. When I say curse, I'm not talking about some mystical spell cast in the dark. I'm talking about the accumulated weight of invisible contracts between you and fear, between you and delay, between you and the version of yourself that thought they had to wait their turn. That version is no longer in charge. Because when you live in fear of not being enough, you don't just attract less, you push away what's already been given. That's how the law of attraction works in reverse. It's not just about asking the universe for things. It's about becoming someone who finally stops resisting what's already in motion. Think of it like this: the river of abundance has always been flowing. But if you were taught that water was dangerous, you'd build a dam around your own shoreline, even if you were dying of thirst. Not out of weakness, but out of loyalty. Loyalty to an old belief system. Loyalty to stories that told you to shrink. But now, Leo, you get to choose a different story. You get to gently dismantle those inner walls and let the current in. That's what this moment is asking of you. And it's not just cosmic, it's practical. Because once the belief shifts, the behavior shifts. You apply for the job. You reach out for the opportunity. You stop settling for just enough. You speak up. You take up space. Here's a simple practice. Take a blank page and write down 5 money beliefs you were raised with. Anything from money doesn't grow on trees, to rich people are selfish, to I'm bad with money. Don't edit. Let it spill. And then look at each one and ask, is this mine? Or did I inherit it? That alone starts the healing. That alone starts the shift. And remember, breaking the curse isn't about waking up one day with $1 million in your account. It's about waking up one day and not feeling guilty for even wanting it. I've seen people unlock everything not because they suddenly became spiritual enough, but because they got honest. And honesty creates space. Space for new beliefs. Space for joy. Space for a sense of safety that doesn't require suffering as proof. So if this stirred something in you, if even one sentence landed like truth in your chest, know this: that's not coincidence. That's the old energy leaving. That's the sound of a curse breaking. And you're still here. Still standing. Still rising. Comment below with the number 888 if you're ready to let the old beliefs fall. Let this be your way of saying, I'm not waiting anymore. I'm not earning my worth, I am living from it. From where we left off the moment the old beliefs began to fall away, what comes next is not just relief. It's momentum. And this next phase you're stepping into, Leo, isn't quiet. It's cosmic. There's a reason you're feeling this magnetic pull right now. Because from October 28th to 31st, you are walking into what I would call a celestial green light, a rare astrological moment when the sky seems to lean in closer, and the universe speaks in clearer terms. Let me put it this way. The Sun, your ruling planet, is currently aligning in a harmonious trine with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, generosity, and golden chances. When fire meets fire, Leo and Aries in trine, you get ignition. You get acceleration. You get the kind of cosmic support that doesn't just nudge you forward, but practically lifts you onto a new path. But this isn't just about growth in theory. With Jupiter involved, it's about real-world abundance, money, visibility, recognition, and that long-awaited break you've been quietly praying for. Now, layer onto that the moon passing through Scorpio on the 28th and 29th. This is no soft emotional breeze. This is a full-on energetic detox. Scorpio doesn't tiptoe, it transforms. It reaches into the depths of your emotional body and starts stirring up every last story you've ever internalized around shame, scarcity, or not being ready for more. And you may feel it like a wavy moment of unease, an old memory rising, but don't resist it. That discomfort? It's part of the release. It's how emotional trauma gets unhooked from your nervous system. And as that moon moves out, it's like a tide pulling those old stories out with it. And nowhere's where things get even more layered. If you've been following the signs, you may have already felt the nudge of something greater through repeated numbers, dreams, or even coincidences that feel too sharp to ignore. If the number 888 has shown up for you this week, you're not imagining things. In numerology, 8 is the number of power, material mastery, and karmic completion. When it triples 888, it becomes a sacred code for overflow. It means you're not just attracting wealth, you're becoming the kind of person who can hold it without guilt, sabotage, or fear. The tarot speaks here too, as it always does. First, the Judgment card, often misunderstood as something external, like punishment or fate. But in its truest form, it's about awakening. It shows up when you're ready to lay the past to rest and step fully into the life you were always meant to live, not just the one you settled for. It says, you've heard the inner calling, will you answer it? Then comes the Ace of Pentacles, perhaps one of the most tangible blessings in the tarot deck. A seed. A door. A yes. This is the kind of opportunity that shows up in the form of a contract, a client, a check, or a simple shift in energy that brings in everything you were once chasing. But aces don't grow without your permission. You still have to plant it. Water it. Choose it. And finally, the King of Pentacles. The stabilizer. This isn't a flashy influencer or a fantasy lover who makes grand gestures. This is the energy of someone who builds, who protects, who sustains. It could be a mentor, a partner, or even a new version of you that's rising. The part of you that finally knows how to hold wealth without losing sleep. The version of you who no longer equates money with pressure, but with possibility. All of these alignments, astrological, emotional, energetic, are converging now. Not in the distant future. Not in another lifetime. But here. Now. And it's okay if a part of you feels nervous about stepping into this level of receiving. That's normal. That's human. What matters is that you don't retreat. What matters is that you let the momentum move you forward. So I want to invite you to pause for a second and check in with yourself. Have you seen the signs? Have you felt the shift? Have you whispered, even silently, "I'm ready"? If so, comment below with the phrase, "I'm ready to drown in divine wealth." Let that be your sign out to yourself, to the universe, to your future self, that you're not afraid of what's coming. In fact, you're finally open to it. And that, Leo, changes everything. There's a strange feeling that shows up sometimes right before a major breakthrough. It's not always loud. It's not dramatic. In fact, most of the time, it feels like silence, the kind of silence that wraps around you when something or someone is watching, not with judgment, but with deep recognition. Leo, if you felt lately like someone has been paying close attention to your journey, not in the way strangers scroll through your social media, but in a deeper, more knowing way, you're not making that up. What you're sensing is real, and it matters more than you think. In moments of transformation, we're never truly alone. There's often an energetic witness, someone who carries the archetype of the King of Pentacles. They don't arrive with grand declarations or promises they can't keep. They come in quietly, often at the exact moment you're on the edge of giving up or daring to dream again. And when they show up, it feels like stability walks into the room. This person are energized, grounded, steady, present. They might not say much, but they carry a kind of gravity. You feel safer when they're near, even if they're not doing anything at all. That's King of Pentacles energy. It's not flashy, but it's real. It's the mentor who texts you after months of silence with exactly the right words. It's the old friend who shows up in your inbox when you've just prayed for guidance. It's even the stranger whose one sentence lingers in your mind for days, not because it was loud, but because it was true. This presence doesn't exist to rescue you. That's not their purpose. They're not here to solve your problems or carry your load. They're here to confirm that you're no longer who you used to be. To mirror back to you how far you've come and how ready you actually are. Sometimes, that's all we need to be seen. Not as someone struggling. Not as someone broken. But as someone powerful and becoming. And this energy? It sees you. Fully. Astrologically, this kind of energetic support often enters when earth-based alignments stabilize fire-based dreams. Leo is ruled by the sun, radiant, expressive, passionate. But what sustains fire? Earth. And that's what the King of Pentacles brings. The grounding you've been craving. The container that allows the flame to burn longer, stronger, and with purpose. Maybe this person has already arrived. Or maybe they're on their way. Or maybe just maybe becoming them. Maybe you're stepping into that role for yourself, building the financial foundation, the emotional steadiness, the daily rituals that make you feel held, no matter what's happening outside. You don't need a dramatic sign to know you're being witnessed. Sometimes it's as subtle as the air shifting in a room, or the way your body relaxes when someone says your name like it actually matters. And maybe, deep down, you've always known this moment was coming. That at some point, the version of you who doubted everything would meet the version of you who finally believes, and that belief would be reflected by someone who recognized you instantly, even if they just met you. So let me ask you, have you ever had that moment when someone looked at you and saw something you hadn't even fully claimed yet? Have you ever felt that someone, somewhere, knew you were on the verge of something, even if you hadn't told anyone? If you've been sensing a presence lately, a quiet knowing in the background of your life, trust it. Trust that you're not being watched out of curiosity or critique, but out of reverence. And if you feel called, share in the comments who in your life holds that energy of the King of Pentacles. Or write, I feel seen, to claim this new season of being recognized not for your potential, but for your readiness. Because you are ready. And someone knows it. There's something quietly powerful about the dreams we leave behind. Not because they were wrong or too big, but because the version of us back then simply didn't feel ready to carry them. Leo, if you've ever had a project, an idea, a vision that once lit you up and then slowly faded into the background, you're not alone. Life has a way of pulling us in a dozen directions. Responsibilities stack up, fear takes the driver's seat, timing feels off. So we tell ourselves, later. Someday. Maybe. But the truth? Some dreams don't die. They wait. And sometimes they wait years, sitting silently in old folders, dusty notebooks, voice memos we forgot we even recorded. Until one day, like now, their energy starts to stir again, not loudly, not in a rush, but like an ember catching the wind. That's what this moment is for you. The wind is changing. And one of those embers is about to catch fire again. In astrology, when the energies of Jupiter are active as they are now, there's a collective encouragement to return to what we once hoped for. Jupiter doesn't just expand what's new. It magnifies what still holds promise. And with the sun supporting this momentum, it's less about reinvention and more about reactivation. Especially for fire signs like Leo, whose creativity often gets sidelined in favor of logic, survival, or the needs of others. But your creative force is not optional, it's foundational to who you are. You're not just someone who has ideas. You are the idea, incarnated. This is the time to revisit something you didn't finish. Not out of guilt. Not because you should have. But because that idea, that passion, that half-written manuscript or unused business name still belongs to you. And maybe now, you have more wisdom. Maybe now, you've healed the part of you that didn't believe it could happen. That's what makes the return so different. You're not going back as who you were. You're circling back with more light, more self-trust, and a quieter, deeper sense of worth. In therapeutic work, we often talk about how the nervous system stores unfinished cycles, emotions we didn't process, things we wanted to say but didn't, actions we longed to take but froze around. These don't disappear. They stay lodged in the body like locked doors. But when we move toward them again consciously, gently, we open space. We release pressure. We stop carrying weight we didn't even know was still there. That's why I invite you, this week, to pull something back into the light. Find one thing, just one that you once loved enough to start but walked away from. Maybe it's a journal you stopped writing in. A business plan you never pitched. A course idea, a painting, a melody, a message you never sent. Don't judge how far along it was. Don't overthink whether it still matters. Just give it an hour. Give it your presence. You might be surprised by how alive it still feels. So many breakthroughs come not from starting over, but from picking up where we left off this time, with more soul in the room. There's nothing more magnetic than someone who reclaims something they once abandoned, not to prove a point, but because they finally know they're worthy of finishing it. And now I want to hear from you. What are you ready to return to? What dream, idea, or calling is quietly asking for a second chance? Share it in the comments. Write it out as a declaration. Because sometimes, just by naming it, you bring it back to life. And this time, it's not coming back to test you. It's coming back because you're ready. There comes a point, Leo, when the energy around you doesn't just whisper, it resonates. It hums. You feel it in your chest, in your hands, in the subtle way your breath moves when you think about what you truly desire. And for many of you, that hum has taken the form of a number. Not just any number, but 888. You may have seen it on clocks, receipts, license plates, or even in your dreams. But this isn't just coincidence. It's a frequency. A pattern. A sign that the gates of material expansion are not only opening theory, responding to your readiness to walk through them. In numerology, 8 is the number of wealth, power, and aligned action. It's the infinity loop turned upright, showing us that what we give, we receive, what we believe, we create. But when that energy triples 888, it becomes a powerful energetic vortex. It signals a moment when the soul, the body, and the material world are aligned enough for receiving without resistance. It means that the old stories of struggle are fading. And not just fading, theory being rewritten by your willingness to finally stop striving and start receiving. The deeper truth about 888 is this: it doesn't just call in money. It calls in capacity. Because abundance isn't only about what flows in, it's about what you're ready to hold. Without guilt. Without sabotage. Without apology. And Leo, that's where your fire gets to work differently now. Not as a burning flame trying to prove its light to the world, but as a steady radiance that trusts, I deserve to shine, and I have the space to hold what that light brings to me. That's where color begins to guide the journey. Color isn't just aesthetics, it's energy. And right now, surrounding yourself with certain shades can support the opening that's already unfolding within. Deep green is a grounding reminder that prosperity is not fleeting, it can be nurtured, rooted, and sustained. Gold, the signature of your solar birthright, reflects the unapologetic glow of your true nature, one that no longer dims for the comfort of others. And soft pink? It's the gentle permission to open your heart again, not just to love, but to wealth, comfort, and ease. If you've never worked with color energetically before, don't overcomplicate it. You don't need rituals or tools. Just notice what you wear, what you surround yourself with. Light a candle, wrap a scarf around your shoulders, change the wallpaper on your phone. Every small signal tells your nervous system, we're safe to expand now. The fear is not in charge. The future is not the past. You can breathe here. To help anchor this shift, I invite you into a daily practice. Just 3 sentences in the morning. Out loud. In the mirror. Write them. Speak them. Feel them. I am worthy. I am ready. I lead the wealth of my soul. Let these be more than affirmations. Let them be anchors. Because your nervous system, like your bank account, responds to consistent messages. And when the message is grounded in truth, everything around you begins to respond differently. This week, choose one color: green, gold, or pink that resonates most with what you're calling in. Let it be your companion. Let it support your energy. Let it remind you that you're not trying to become someone abundant. You already are. You're simply remembering it now. If this speaks to something deep inside you, don't keep it in. Type 888 in the comments to claim this moment of alignment. Then share what color are you choosing to walk with this week? What energy are you finally ready to receive, not just with open hands, but with an open heart? Remember, Leo, your light has always been magnetic. But now, it's time for that light to reflect back something tangible, something lasting. And it all begins with your yes. Leo, if you've made it this far, it's because a part of you already knows you're not here just to receive abundance for yourself. You're here to break patterns. To rewrite the unspoken rules that your family, your community, maybe even generations before you quietly lived by. Rules like, don't ask for too much, or stay grateful for just enough. But you came into this life to shift that. You didn't arrive late. You arrived first. You are the beginning of a new legacy. And that legacy? It doesn't start with millions in your bank account. It starts with a single shift in belief. It begins the moment you stop seeing wealth as something reserved for other people and start claiming it as part of your sacred inheritance. You're not just opening doors, you're unlocking entire vaults of permission. For your children. Your parents. Even the ancestors who never got the chance. That is no small act. That is sacred, grounded rebellion. The kind the universe notices. The kind that echoes. So let me ask you, gently but honestly, are you ready to live a life your ancestors dreamed of but never got to touch? A life where money is no longer something you chase, but something you hold with grace. A life where your creativity is honored, your rest is valued, your vision is trusted, and where what you build will outlive you, in the most beautiful way? It doesn't happen all at once. But it does begin now. Not with a lottery win, not with external permission, but with your decision to stop shrinking. You already have the awareness. You've already done the healing. Now comes the part where you apply it. Where you build it into your rituals, your schedule, your speech. Where you start talking like someone who belongs to abundance, not as a guest, but as a rightful heir. This is your cue to keep going. To reopen that project. To reach out to that person. To spend time with the version of you that isn't afraid anymore. And when you do, I want you to remember, you're not doing this alone. You are part of a much bigger story, one that we at Eternal Mindfulness are honored to help you walk. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for watching this video, and for allowing yourself to receive this message. Every comment you leave, Every like, every time you subscribe or share this with someone you love, you are amplifying your energy field. You are saying to the universe, I'm not just watching. I'm part of the movement. That matters more than you know. So if this message resonated with something in you, if it reminded you of your strength, your value, your role as a leader in your lineage, I invite you to claim it right now. Comment below, I am the first. I am ready to drown in divine wealth. Let the universe feel it. Let your soul confirm it. Let your body begin to trust it. And if you feel called, share this video. Not just to support this channel, but to ripple this energy outward. Someone in your orbit might be waiting for permission, and your courage could be their signal. You were never meant to do this alone. And you won't have to. Eternal mindfulness will be right here, guiding you through the next door, and the one after that. You are the opening. You are the shift. You are the miracle your family never thought possible. Now go live like it.